Shawshank Redemption. Somebody didn't make coffee for Coffee Talk. Now, I'm not naming names, but you know who you are. You didn't make coffee for Coffee Talk. That makes me a little bit, I'm a little bit sad, but we'll be okay. It is Coffee Talk, and today I want to take you back in time, 2016, when I learned FPV. When I first learned about it, and I thought, this is something I would love, because I saw Stu, UAV Futures, just, you know what I'm talking about, doing the little power loops, and he had that old, I miss his old track, like I really do, the one with the tower, because I thought that was really cool. You can fly between the tower, and you can fly up and do a little split S over it, and just come over, and then zip down and come around, and I was like, dang. That looks like a hobby I can get into, because, I'm a middle-aged guy and I need a hobby, and that looked like something I could get into. And it was awesome. And I took all of his words to heart, and I bought a 5-inch quad, and I was like, yes, I am Superman, because, well, I'm Batman really, but I'm Superman because I can fly through the air, and 5-inch quad, and I got the big box goggles that leave the cut across the ridge of the nose, and I'm like, this is great, and I got my Fly Sky controller with the crappy ass gimbals, and I'm like, ooh, this is great because I'm flying, and I'm so freaking happy, because I've been wanting to do that since I was a kid, like in the 80s, and I first saw my first airplane, and it was $30, and I thought, man, I gotta save up $30, and then I realized it was just a motor with a wing, and it on a string, and you could go around in circles. That was it. And I was like, dang, that's no fun. So I waited. I bided my time until I hit like 40. And then I was like, ooh, quads, these are fun. These things are great. FPV, yes, this is what I want to do. And in 2016, when you got in the hobby, and to give you an idea, like 2016, when you got in the hobby, you were like, yeah, I am in. And then you realized, oh my God, the learning curve is absurd. It is crazy. You got to learn how to solder, which is fine. I always wanted to learn how to solder, so that was good. You got to learn these little tiny electrical points. You got to learn contacts. You got to learn software in some ways. Betaflight in 2016 was, then you got to learn how to tune it. Then you got to learn how to fix it when you break stuff. And back then, like a 5-inch quad with some not so great carbon fiber, you got to fix stuff, and you got to be in there. And VTXs, and they have all their quirks. And then, ooh, I've got motor noise, because again, and then you get your flight controller, which has no filtering, then no OSD. And let's just say 2016 was a fun time, but I missed some parts of it. Like I missed the community in 2016. I love the community now, don't get me wrong, but it was different. It was definitely a more hands-on community that knew how to do stuff more than me, that's for sure. And I take it back to JC Culpepper, man, I miss Project Blue Falcon. That was sad. So if you're out there riding a motorcycle, please wear a helmet. And that's no knock against him. That's just, please be safe. But that time for FPV was to me, whenever it became commercially available for the average person to go, ooh, this is a fun hobby. And at the time, I didn't realize just how crappy that hobby really was until I hit 2019, and I'm going, dang, kids these days got it easy. So let me take it back. 2016, you had a camera with a field of view like this. So you're flying around going, where's that tree branch? Where's that tree branch? And it was crappy. And you had no dynamic range. It wasn't a wide or low dynamic. I mean, it was no dynamic range. And then you took a GoPro lens and you would pop it on camera and call that like the best thing ever, because it was far better than what you had. So 2016, hard time to learn. Crappy components, lots of Chinese offshoots, lots of, what do you call them, counterfeit pieces. All that stuff still goes on, don't get me wrong. But right now, in 2019, that's the whole point of Coffee Talk here. 2019 is so much better. So I wanted to help out everybody who is getting into the hobby and thought, what do I do? What do I do? So I want to tell you things that I did not do that I would do today much differently. Number one, we're going to go in order here. And I don't have my notes. So if this rambles, just fast forward. It's cool. It's cool. You'll get to it. But number one, 2016, a 5-inch quad was the only thing to fly, period. Nothing else flew well. If you had a 3-inch, it was a specialty piece and it was crappy. 2019, 3-inch is where it's at. And honestly, Twig's where it's at too. So there's the 1104 size, or yeah, 1103, 1104 size quads, the 1104 motor size, and under 75 grams. And then there's your 3-inch at about 200 grams, 250, 270, all up weight with a 4S battery, something in that. 1408 size motors. And those to me are where it's at. And the reasons, very simple. If you buy a Twig, you can buy an RS120. Let's go with that one. RS120. You buy it, it looks good, it comes, you don't even have to solder in something, and it flies like a dream. Great. And it's 2S. That's your key, because you're going to spend money on the quad. You know, 150 will get you a great quad right now. Bind and fly. If you spend 200, you better be getting HD, so, or some specialty 5-inch quad. But in the 150 to 200 range, you're talking great quads. And I thought whenever I first started, I'm like, man, $100 for a quad, that's kind of expensive. Until I realized it's not the quad that's going to cost you, it's the batteries. So whatever you do, if you're a beginner, buy one type of quad that you like. Let's say I want to do this long term and I want the most versatile. The most versatile is going to be good at all things, not great at any one thing. Except in this case, it's one of the fastest you can get. So I went with the 3-inch Diatone Eachine ER349. Yeah, 110 miles per hour. But the reason I recommend buy one quad that you think you're going to fly the most all the time, when you buy that one quad, keep the same type of batteries. And for me, the 4S battery, it's so easy in beta flight to knock the throttle curve down to make a 4S battery fly like a 3S or a 2S battery. So for me, I would not buy 3 and 4S batteries back and forth and just, oh, I'm going to use these as my practice batteries and I'm going to use these as my real ones. I just wouldn't do that. I would buy one type of battery and buy like a few at a time. Now, when you buy 3-inch batteries or 3-inch 4S batteries, you're looking at $15, $18 will get you a GNB, which is a fantastic battery. But 15 and under will get you a 4S, 850, 750, somewhere in that range battery that you can fly. And if you buy in bulk, they'll all wear evenly and you can charge them evenly, and you can do just, you can have so much more flight time with those batteries and that size quad than you could a 5-inch with 1500 milliamp hour batteries, or 1800, where you're talking between $20 and $30 now. And you might be lucky if you can fly a 1300 for about $15 to $17. So your battery costs go up considerably whenever you jump from an 850 to like a 1300. 6S is another thing people buying and they're like, ooh, 6S is the future. It is, when the future becomes a little bit cheaper. 6S right now is great size to have. It's great to fly. The batteries are still crazy pricey, and only a few manufacturers make them. So unless you're piecing together cells yourself, it's going to be difficult. Now, if you buy in the 2S range, you can get far more flight time for your money. So my 2S quad right now, I have a Leader 120 and Larva X HD, or a Larva X that I converted to HD, and a Tiro 69. And they all use the same batteries, 2S, 500 range. So I have 550 and I have 450, but most of them are 550 range right now. And for that, I got those batteries about $5 or $6 each. Cheap as all get out. And that's G and B. I did little tweaks to make the connectors work, but phenomenal. That gets me in the air. I can go out and fly for almost 5 hours continuous. And that, as a beginner, having that much stick time, that's more important than are you flying a 5-inch or a 3-inch or whatever. Just the stick time to get the muscle memory down to, ooh, I want to do this. Because you can translate the muscle memory from one size quad to another. You make minor tweaks to how you're flipping sticks. Whenever you're flying 3S, 4S, and you're switching battery packs, that actually changes a little bit of your muscle memory, to me anyway, more than changing sizes or whatever. So I recommend, if I were a beginner, I would stick with one type of one quad, one type of battery. So 4S, I would use the throttle curve in Betaflight. In my last videos on that, how to set that throttle curve. And I would try to get as much stick time. Personally, I would still go with box goggles for right now, simply because if you're going to spend $500 for goggles, go ahead and do the DJI and get DJI everything and get the digital feed, a 5-inch quad. Go ahead and do that. If you're going to spend, I do not understand why HDO2s are $500 and you have to buy a module, and you can literally go digital for the same price by the time you piece everything in. HDO2s or some of the Fat Sharks, the other Fat Sharks at $500. Go digital at that point, and I'm not joking. Go digital if that's your budget and that's what you want. Personally, I like analog. I'm sticking with the box goggles until I decide to go digital, and that's whenever the form factor changes and we start to see more 20mm stacks. The first one out by Caddx, 20mm digital stack. I think that's great. But for right now, I still would be box style goggle, $80, $90, get you DVR, get you diversity, get you a very good video feed with a very good screen. EV800DMs, I got the little magnifying screen. I love it. I didn't think I'd like it as much. The tiny screen I liked, but with magnifying, it's perfect. It fills my field of view, lasts a couple of hours, has DVR and diversity. It's great. The Viper FXT, $150. Those are great goggles as well. And they won't break the bank. And I'm not joking. If you're going to spend $500, do digital, okay? I can't say this enough. I do not understand pricing for Orcas or HDO2s. And yes, a lot of people push them and they get commission off of that. So do not forget that, okay? Whoever's pushing it, like, they do get commission off of selling that to you. So sometimes there is an ulterior motive. Yes, I will say the OLED screens are better. They are far better. Are they $400 better? That's up to you. To me, not even close. For 400 bucks, I can go buy a Mavic Mini. So I can either be flying or I can have another whole type of quad with a whole new setup. You know, it's all what your budget is. Some people, you know, they want the best of the best. If I still say, if you want the best of the best, go digital. And I'm not joking. Harped on that enough. I'm sorry. Back to it. I would steer away from FlySky. Tyrannus is better. Crossfire is better. And honestly, the receivers have gotten smaller and cheaper. Once you buy the transmitter, the receivers aren't going to be a major factor in your cost. Gets me to, we've got the quad, 3-inch or a toothpick style, 2S or 4S. Use throttle curve. Don't worry about the speed of the quad so much as your throttle curve on your batteries, so that you can spend your money on batteries, which is going to be a substantial portion of your budget. It just is. I've spent more on batteries than I have on 3 quads. Not lying. Basically, if you have 5 4S 1500s, you can have almost 10 4S 850s. Works out about, actually that is about it. And sometimes you find sales, so you can do better than that. But the 4S smaller versions, you get in the air for longer. 2S even cheaper, so you get in the air for even longer. So if I were a beginner, I would start off 2S, toothpick, and fly it until the wheels fell off. The other thing I want to say, goggles, box goggles, transmitter, get a good battery charger. I do like the ToolkitRCs because they have a great price to quality to power ratios. So this is $40, 300 watts. You do need a power supply, but that's an extra 20 bucks. So for $60, you're getting 300 watts of power. With a parallel board, you can charge a lot of batteries at that. And instead of doing the ISDT with the dual outputs, buy 2 of these. I'm not kidding. You'll pay the same, but you'll have a lot more flexibility. So battery chargers, get a good one. I like the ToolkitRC. I do like ISDTs. They're very easy to use. Similar interface, lots of reviews on them. Pick a good one. Pick something you like. You're going to spend more money on batteries and you charging and props than you are on the quad. Gets me to my next point. So back in 2016, tuning, tuning was difficult. So if you did a flip and a roll, you almost always had a bounce back until you tuned it down to, I nudged my P gain up 2, my D gain down 1, but you don't have to worry about it anymore. I'm telling you flat out, I have flashed so many quads, and since 4.1 came out, and honestly 3.5.7, those two versions, I can flash and fly. I don't even look at PIDs anymore unless I do a high throttle push and I hear some oscillations. Then I might tune it down, just down my D, down my P, something like that. We're talking minor changes versus 2016 where you pretty much had to write software. Like, it was so hard to tune a quad. So many videos on how to tune, they're all different. And people were always chasing it. So as a beginner, I have to tell you right now, stop chasing someone else's PID tune. You will waste so much time trying someone else's PID tune. It is so much easier, so much easier. It takes 10 minutes to flash a quad, and honestly, flash and fly and tweak. It would take me longer to go look up someone's PID tune and input it than it would for me to flash, fly, and tweak. So that's my second thing. Don't waste your time chasing PID tunes. Get your own. It's so much easier now than it used to be. Flash and fly will get you about 90% there almost all the time. And I'm not kidding. As long as you don't have anything weird, yeah, make sure you have good props. For beginners, that's actually it as far as my recommendations. 5-inch is not king. I honestly wouldn't fly 5-inch until I was very comfortable in the hobby. There's so much that can go wrong with a 5-inch, from damaging people, damaging property. Just crashing is so much more expensive than a 5-inch. I would stick with 3-inch and under just for the longevity of the quad itself. You get so much more for your money these days. They fly so well that I'd say 5-inch is more for whenever you do want to get that perfectly cinematic video. I still would go with a 3-inch and slap on a Runcam Nano split. I would go 3-inch Runcam Nano split without hesitation. The FPV feed is just as good as most of the other Runcams, and the HD video is fantastic, and depending on your frame, you can get the props in or out. So it depends on your frame and how you fly. I personally like that approach. GoPro is still GoPro, so once you want that perfectly cinematic blah blah blah, then you will go 5-inch, but by that time, you'll spend for your GoPro and for your 5-inch quad, you won't have to buy all the other stuff except for a few batteries. So you're already saving money by not investing heavily in the 5-inch range and getting your whole setup around it, the ecosystem that you're flying in, set up so that you can jump into 5-inch just as easily as you could go to a toothpick, just back and forth. Same goggles, same transmitter, same battery setup, different batteries obviously, but that's part of the cost of changing quads. Those are my tips. So number one, 3-inch, between twig and 3-inch. I've been avoiding, I don't like the whoop style as much. They fly, whoop quads fly differently enough. I don't recommend them as much for beginners. They're more of toys to me. They fly very differently. You can't do the same. Now I say that the Mobula 7 is very good. It has a place. To me, that's more of after you learn how to fly, or if you only have indoors, Mobula 7. There, just go have at it, have fun. Emax has the new beginner quad, but it's really not beginner, so watch out. My other tip, 3-inch or twig, something under 75 grams, or a 3-inch, an actual 3-inch with 1408 motors. It's got some power, put it down. Learn how to fly one of those. The stick skills will translate to the other and will translate to a 5-inch. You just have to retweak how you think more than how your thumbs move. I would still go box goggles unless you want the best of the best. Go 5-inch, go digital, period. I do not see a place for the Orcas and I just don't see a place for a $500 goggle. Yeah, that's me. Unless you are a professional, totally different. Mr. Steele probably needs it, and it's all good. He could probably do the same thing on a different type. He'd just complain about it. Big difference. Skill goes a long way. with skill is flight time and doing what you want to do. Other than that, set up your ecosystem, get your pieces together. One thing I didn't talk about were repairs. You do need a good soldering iron and some good solder, some good flux, some good tools. Most of them are going to be in the 1.5 to 3 millimeter hex. So get a good set of tools. I have some links down below for those. Mainly because you always have to tighten pieces up. But if you fly in the 3-inch range, and I'll tell you this, I've repaired my 5-inch so much I've rebuilt it to the point that the only thing that's stock on it that came with it is the frame, because I haven't broken all of the frame. I have broken an arm. So let's say 3/4 of the frame. With my 3-inch, I've had this one 8 months or so, 8 or 9 months. I'm still in the same frames. I haven't even lost a screw. And literally minor tweaks. That's it, minor tweaks. I've changed cameras out, but that's voluntary. I still have the other cameras as backups. It's fine. I've crashed it like crazy. I got some road rash on it, but it still flies great. With the twigs, I'm still on Leader 120 from 2017, and it still flies great. And I've probably only gone through 20 props total, and I put hundreds of packs through it. I like that size. 5-inch, you're going to spend a lot more time repairing and a lot more time fixing. 3-inch, you're going to roll. You might have to change out a prop. I haven't even damaged a motor yet, and that's impressive for me, so knock on wood. Beyond that, those are my beginner tips. Stick with one quad, maybe 2 quads of the same type, same battery style. That's actually where your money's going to be. So if you have 10 2S batteries or 10 4S batteries, but they only fly with 1 quad and you have to, you see what I mean? Or if you have different sizes, you're going to have a different experience every time you fly. So like this one, I might fly a 1300 milliamp hour if I want to get about 8 or 9 minutes, or I might fly a 650 or an 854S and get 3 minutes much faster. Those two flight styles are so different. I can see video and pick them out instantly, even though the video looks the same. I can just pick out which one's the lighter battery and which one's not. It flies so much differently. Stick with the same size, stick with the same everything. I'm going to have to wrap it up here, but I want to thank you so much for everything. Thank you again. Remember, consistency is key. Flying is key. I appreciate all of you. There are only 24 hours in this day, so try to make at least one of those dedicated to making the world a little bit better, and the other 23 dedicated to making yourself better. So I thank you so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think, and we'll wrap it up here. Thank you again. I do have an upcoming giveaway because I'm getting something soon that I can't even review it. Like, it's so far out. But that's coming up in a video later. And I just want to thank you again. Thanks to everyone who reached out to me. Y'all notice that depression gets to everybody, and seasonal effectiveness and all that. So thank you so much. Truly, truly mean it. But that's going to do it. Beginners, enjoy the hobby. It's not 2016 anymore. 2019 is so much easier. You have so many more options that it's amazing to me that, yeah, it's just amazing to me, because I wish I joined in 2019. I would have saved so much money. I probably would have had a DJI Phantom and the same quads I'm flying today. So enjoy the hobby. Thank you so much, and we will talk to you later.